I was just mindful that this was written probably during the time of the persecution of Diocletian and Nero. It was a rough time taking place in the early century. Unless we think that those were rough times just then, and we've heard about it, the Syrian Catholic Church in Baghdad that Al-Qaeda had bombed, and 50-some people during a mass were slaughtered. And the reason being an anti-religious feeling. So we've got strange stuff that happens in every generation, not just way in the past. There was a European missionary, and he was going to work in Africa, in an African mission. And he went to his place in London and got all these wonderful placards, like for CCD, so he could hang them up, and people could be instructed by gospel stories and Bible stories, and nice little things, all kind of information about the church and the teaching of Jesus. And he put them out at the entrance, so when anybody came in, the people would see these great placards, and he kind of preached on them. And they always are very respectful. All the folks that they watching, they're very attentive, and they saw all these placards, and they took question, and he talked about them. And one day he put a big picture of hell, and people in hell, and his homily was going to be on hell. And he said, he was fixing up himself for the Mass in the sacristy, and he heard all this commotion out by the picture. And people were laughing, carrying on and laughing, and just rolling in the aisles. And he went up and he said, hell is not a laughing matter. But they said, Father, look, they're all white. We always put somebody else in hell. We always put somebody else in hell. And as Jean-Paul Sartre, that French philosopher cynic, said, other people are hell. It's not us, it's somebody else. And the thing is, I think that the judgment time is uncomfortable for us. We don't like to talk about it. It's like death and taxes. They're avoidable subjects at all costs. And I think that what the Christ is trying to give us is maybe a new venue for understanding the end times. By the way, Malachi really had it right. The burning oven of the earth. He wasn't an astrophysicist, but you know that the best of our scientists are saying when the supernova takes place, the earth can become, and we're all toast. Now, hopefully that's millions and millions of ways, so we don't worry about that. But again, Malachi did not have a bad idea on that. So what is this preparation that Christ is asking us to have? And also the strength to go through with it. I think it is always the invitation for us to look at our lives. And there was an old TV program, some of us older ones might remember, Truth or Consequences. Truth or Consequences. What's the truth of our lives? Do we have time to really think about it? We procrastinate horribly on that. We'd rather not think about it. And we give an excuse for ourselves again and again and again, so we don't have to think about it. None of us wants to think about our own death. That's especially if we're young. We don't think about that. But I think two things that take place. First of all, Christ will teach us that it's not his line will always be, do not be afraid. Because of fearful things we're always afraid. But the Christ is telling us, do not be afraid. Why would we not be afraid? And he says, first of all, maybe we should look to God. And when's the last time that I really looked to God? I said, well, I'll do it tomorrow, or I'll do when I do my night prayers, or I'll think about it a little bit later. Why would we want to look to God? Well, first of all, we don't see God, or do we not see God? The gift of our ancestors in the faith is to give us a vision of God who is protector, liberator, champion, father, mother, creator, best friend in the world, life-giving spirit. So all the ancients have given us this vision to look at God and see God in that way. And the second thing is the truth of ourselves. We were created in God's image. Surprise. And if we're created in God's image, how are we reflecting that to each other in the community around us? We have a great mistake, what I call the panic peddlers, going around saying, the end is coming real quick. It's God's timing, not ours. I don't see a comet coming in the direction, and I don't see a great earthquake. We hope not, anyway. But those things don't worry us. I think what should worry us is the way we are reflecting that image of God. If we're created in God's image, how are we reflecting that? And we all, I think, the great Westminster Cardinal, Basil Hume, before he died, he gave a rendition of himself, and he said how he was dying and he wanted to go before the Lord. He once said, I really wish I could have done all these things so much better in my life. Better monk, better bishop, better instructor and teacher. And he was a great human being, by the way. He loved soccer and football, too, by the way. He found them all the times at the soccer stadium, but, with no Cardinal stuff on. And, rugby, that was one of his favorites in England. He'd go to the Wembley Stadium and enjoy and yell and rant and rave like everybody else at a Steelers game, It's nice to have a Cardinal like that, by the way. And but he also continued when he said, I suddenly realized that all that stuff I wanted to say to God when I meet God, he said, probably the best thing I say, oh God, be merciful to me a sinner. Ooh, he was right. It's not the proud things that we've done. It's a recognition of our weakness before God. And it's not the Christ going like this, I gotcha. I'm going to write stuff in a book. My Father's writing book stuff on you. So when you appear, you're going to get it. Bad theology. Bad theology. That's not my Father. It's somebody else's, not mine. And he says, it's like I'm on the cross, and what happens when the thief comes and says, Lord, remember me? And the words that we will hear when we're able to say, oh God, have mercy on me, a sinner. This day you shall be with me in paradise. That's the great gift. This day you shall be with me in paradise. And now reflect on your life in this way. The Matthean Gospel has Jesus looking and presenting this. The Last Judgment, the big surprise. I was hungry, did you feed me? I was thirsty, did you give me drink? I was naked, did you clothe me? Did my image in you reflect it in the people around you? And that will be the gift for us that's why we come together, by the way, so we get the strength to do that. Now, in our lives, we face all kind of stuff. And I think that the gift of the Christ is to say, when you get hung up to dry sometimes, when you're getting crucified, you're flunking a test, your car hit a deer, you're ill, you got terminals, and friendships have fallen apart, marriages have fallen apart. We have all these crucifying things that happen in life. And he says, I'm hanging on the cross with you because otherwise the cross is only something masochistic. I'm there with you through the most hardest time of your life to get you through it. And so that's the very end of today's scripture, that through the pain and suffering you have, and it might be big pains or tiny pains, I'm with you through it. I am the Son of God. I am the Son of justice. I bring light and strength to your life. And the thing is for us in our examination of our conscience to welcome that presence of the Lord and his promise, everlasting life. Let us pray.